Well, welcome everybody to another edition of Walking in Spirit of Truth here on the LambNetwork.tv. And it is great to be with you on this evening in the middle of, well, the last few days of December on the Gregorian calendar. And it's been quite a ride if you want to look at it in terms of the last 12 months. But here we are. We are on a ride, and that ride is the Book of Jubilees. And it has been an adventure, and we're going to continue where we left off from this last week, where we were on chapter 12 and of the Book of Jubilees, where I had to do a broadcast from a rest area, a safety rest area on I-27 between Lubbock and Amarillo. Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? I had to use my phone and log on out there in the middle of nowhere and hope that no weirdo came and parked beside me, because I was parked all by myself in a very end of the parking area. Have you ever done that? I mean, seriously, have you ever been to a rest area and you find a parking space away from everybody else because you don't want to bother you, because you want to take a nap or something, or you just want to, you get out, but you don't want people near you, and you park, and it's way on the other end, and then someone comes and parks right next to you? That's weird. That's really weird. But nobody did that to me this last week. Maybe because I was broadcasting live from the road, but it was all good. We got to do our study into the Book of Jubilees, and not study. Why do I keep saying that? Because it's an adventure. We're just going along here, kind of discovering things, just like last week we were discovering some of the things that was going through Abraham's head. Well, Avram, and because he hadn't had his name changed yet, and how he was very upset with the idols in his father's house and just decided to destroy them. Yeah, so we talked about that, and a little bit more about his adventure. So this is, the family. Do you think that we have dysfunctional families here in the 21st century? They had dysfunctional families back then, in whatever century that was. All right, yeah, just saying, it was quite quite a big deal. But nevertheless, huh, we're going to get into this. We're going to look at it. We're going to see it from maybe some other perspectives. But again, it's about the adventure. It's about just this journey, kind of like how we did with Enoch and how we did with for Ezra, which is Ezra, but like another book. Okay. So, but all these are a part of the apocryphal writings, all these additional books that they cut out of the canon, but they're actually very much full of truth. I think we did that with the book of Tobit as well. That was very interesting. If you remember, you can catch that on all of our prior Walking in Spirit and Truth programs here on the Lamb Network. Well, let me think. It's going to be on the Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel, if you go back into the archives there. And if you don't find it there, guess what? The one that we got banned from, Life, because they didn't like what we said, and then they gave it back to us, but it's Life of Worship Amarillo. So like the city Amarillo, but there wasn't enough space. They don't allow enough space. We had to drop the O. So Life of Worship Amarillo. And that's a YouTube channel, has a whole bunch more of our Walking in Spirit and Truth teachings and adventures and interviews and all that fun stuff. So anyway, take a few minutes, check out that channel, some of our prior messages that we've done, and a number of other special videos that we've accumulated over the years. And we'd love for you to participate with us. One other thing I want to say is that if you like what's been going on here at Life of Worship, or have Walking in Spirit of Truth, join us over at the Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel, and where we meet. Also, we broadcast on Shabbat, where we have our Torah portion. We have a midrash. We have our mishpachah, our family and friends join us, a whole bunch join us online and comment while we're going through the study, as well as our local congregation that's meeting with us. So we have a good time. And we have our Torah portion at noon Central Time. It lasts for about 2 hours, and then you can we take an hour break and come back at 3 p.m. for our encounter service, where we have a time of praise, worship, ministry, and followed up by a message. And if you missed this last week's message, we were talking about hearing. Yeah, hearing what the word says. Of course, you're like, well, like, what? No, out of Proverbs chapter 4, it says, "Incline your ear," because there's a lot that the word is speaking that a lot of times we just miss it, and we specifically targeted in on incline your ear in what the scriptures say about healing. So go back and check that out. That's on our Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel. And that was part of our live message from this past weekend. So let's see. Oh, yeah. If you'd like to be a financial partner with us, you can uh, do that by participating and going to www.lifeofworshipamarillo.org, and in there at the top you'll find or if you're using you'll find a tab. If you're using your computer, if you're using a device, there's the sandwich menu, and just hit on that, drop down to where it says, or go across to where it says donate. It'll pull up a screen. Click the donate button, and you can give online. So that's a way that you can participate with us financially. And especially if you're looking at, well, where can I send a nice year-end offering? This is, we talked about it on Shabbat in terms of our financial needs that we have. And by your giving helps us take care of the costs of ministry, because we do not charge for anything. We provide all of our messages for free. We make sure that people have that available to them, and we do a lot of other things in this ministry. But all of those things take money, and I mean, all the different things that we do for the ministry cost money. So we provide for you free messages and teachings and things that you can glean from and you utilize in your own ministry and your own work and your own study and all of that. And then and by seeding back into this ministry, you're help feeding this ministry, as so to speak, and metaphorically speaking, and as we feed you as well. So take advantage of that. Go to that donate button and financially partner with us, as well as be a prayer partner with us. Pray. If you can't do it, pray that Yahweh would raise up generous givers. I know there's a lot of places that people can give, and so this is one that we feel like is good soil for you to participate with. All right. Well, enough of that said. It's time for us to jump in to the journey of Jubilees, where we left off at Jubilees chapter 12. And I see Tammy over there in the chat room. It's good to see you this evening. And I'm so glad you guys are home, and that and I'm praying that Eddie is being revived. Um, with after all of those procedures, and that life and energy just invigorates him. Okay. All right then. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you go in there, hit that like button, and give us a thumbs up. And in fact, I already see thumbs up in there. Let's affect the algorithms. Let's kind of blow that away. But share it as well. Let people know what we're talking about. Jubilees. You can go back to the beginning and watch from the beginning. You can do it at 2 times speed. That way you can get through a lot more episodes at one time. So yeah, they say it takes 10 days to recuperate after a hospital stay. I I I can imagine, because they poke and prod you 24 hours a day. You get ready, you get some good sleep, and they're coming back in to disturb you. Oh my goodness. It's just never the same like sleeping in your own bed, is it? All right, so Jubilees chapter 12. Now here we are. And then, like, yeah, Tammy, if you were to you're running back and forth. Short nights for you as well. You need the 10 days recuperation. Just saying. Oh my goodness. All right. So Jubilees chapter 12. Again, we were talking about Avram talking to his father, Terach, and he says, what help and profit? This is like going back to the beginning. This is a quick review. What help and profit have we from these idols which you do worship, and before which you do bow yourself? Like, Dad, kind of slapping them around a little bit. I don't know. So it is. So there's a little bit of that, and then it's talking a little bit more about the family that's going on. And so we left off. Let me kind of go into. We left off in verse 20, beginning at verse 21. So I'm going to read into that. So starting. with verse 17, it says, and a word came into his heart, and he said, all the signs of the stars and the signs of the moon and of the sun are all in the hand of Yahweh. Why do I search them out? If he desires, he causes it to rain morning and evening. And if he desires, he withholds it. And all things are in his hand. And he prayed that night and said, my Elohim, El Elyon, you alone are my Elohim, and you and your dominion have I chosen. See, this is Avram saying, I'm going to break whatever happened in our family that we decided, my forefathers after Shem had decided to worship other idols and follow pagan practices. I'm going to correct that. And so here Avram is actually making this declaration as he's praying, and where he declares before Elohim, El Elyon, you are my Elohim, and you and your dominion have I chosen. And you've created all things, and all things that are the work of your hands. Deliver me from the hands of evil ruachot, the evil spirits. Deliver me from the evil spirits. Now, why would our father Avram, later Abraham, why would he ask for deliverance from evil spirits? Do you think there were evil spirits then that they had to deal with? And do you think that that's applicable for today, that we deal with evil spirits? I mean, after all, when we deal with various ailments in our body, if we deal with various conflicts in life, if we deal with where accidents happen that seem like, why would that accident happen? And all of a sudden it happens. And do you think that there could be some type of sinister demonic activity going around in our life? Yeshua, we mentioned some of that, how he went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed of the devil, of Hasatan. Well, if in other words, healing all those who are oppressed of who? Hasatan. And who are Hasatan's legions? Who's doing his bidding? These evil ruachot. I mean, one of the things we talked about on Shabbat was talking about the Canaanite woman who had a daughter who was demonized. Some versions say demon possessed, but no, she was demonized. She was oppressed, and she needed healing, which is healing is a type, or deliverance is a type of healing. And I mean, if it happened then, why would it not happen now? When we deal with things in this life, we need to be so in tune with the Spirit, just like Avraham is talking about here. Avraham is talking that deliver me from the hands of evil ruachot, evil spirits who have dominion over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from you, my Elohim. Yeah, don't you think they're on assignment? There was a Amy Grant uh, a song years ago in the 80s about angels, angels watching over me, angels on assignment, that type of thing, talking about the angelic realm. And don't you think that evil ruachos, because angels you might even, well, evil ruachos, I mean, being controlled and directed by Hasatan and his um, in other officers that are under him, directing them against mankind. Why? Because if they can have dominion over our thoughts of men's hearts, and it says, let them not lead me astray from you. Because what would they want them to do to Abraham is to lead him back to some forms, maybe a compromised form of pagan worship. I mean, here we are in the middle of the Christmas season, and which it's just a compromised form of pagan worship. It's a Christianized form of paganism. That's all it is, like Easter is. Uh, where else do you get a jolly red fellow that, when the first traditions of the jolly red fellow was that he was Hasatan, and now they Madison Avenue, cloaked him up, Coca-Cola, made him into a jolly old fellow, and made him into this cartoon character, essentially, is what it is, where it brings warm feelings. But nevertheless, understanding that there are things that are embedded in traditions that we don't want to be led astray for, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. And establish me and my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. So this is where we're at. That's where we ended last time. And so here it goes. Verse 21, we're picking up new this week now. And he said, shall I return unto Ur of the Casdim, who seek my face that I may return to them? Am I to remain here in this place? Well, why are they seeking his face? Uh, because he burned down their idols. Okay, so going on, he says, the right path before you, prosper it in the hands of your servant, that he may fulfill it, and that I may not walk in the deceitfulness of my heart, O my Elohim. Now, isn't that is a really good prayer? Let's read that prayer again. The right path before you, prosper it in the hands of your servant, that he may fulfill it, and that I may not walk in the deceitfulness of my heart, my Elohim. The phrasing of that is kind of particular to me, but so he's praying to Yah, and who has the right path. And then he asks that Abraham says, I want to prosper your right path. I wanted you to put it in my hands so I can prosper your path. That might be another way to say it. Put it in my hands, and or prosper it in my hands. This path, this mission that you have in life, and keep me from being led astray, because my heart is deceitful above all else. So keep me from being led. Don't you think that's interesting? I think that's very interesting, the way he phrases that. And he goes on, he says, and he made an end of speaking and praying, and behold, the word of Yahweh, the word of Yahweh was sent to him through me, saying, get you up from your country and from your kindred and from the house of your father unto a land which I will show you. And I shall make you a great and numerous nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be blessed in the earth, and in you shall all families of the earth be blessed. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. And uh, you know, well, I guess a lot of people like to say, well, he's just simply talking about the Jewish people. But as we know, it's been clarified, it's been defined properly, that just encompasses one tribe, the tribe of Yehuda. That's where the name Jew comes from. And so there's 11 other tribes, and anybody else that's grafted in, choose your tribe, however you want to look at it. But nevertheless, just like in Egypt, where the mixed multitude joined up with the 12 tribes, and they chose their tribes, they got to be part of it, grafted in. And when one is cut off, they can also be grafted back in. And so so let's look at that phrasing. Blessed in you shall all families of the earth be blessed, and I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. Now, let's understand that in context. Who is Father Abraham? Look at the descendants of Abraham. And honestly, you really can't say, because if he's going to be if he's going to be a family who is going to be scattered throughout all of creation, all of the earth, that we better be careful about who we bless or who we curse. So we should really be blessing so many. Do you ever think that when we're supposed to bless those who curse us? When Yeshua said that in the Sermon on the Mount, bless those who curse you. I mean, that's an interesting thought, is that, wait a minute, because if you curse back, perhaps you're cursing a descendant of Abraham. So isn't it better that we just don't get involved in cursing another person? I'm not talking about cussing out another person. I'm talking about speaking evil, speaking evil about your brother. That's horrible. I mean, I think people that call themselves believers are pretty professional about that. I mean, when I say professional, it's like, yeah, they really know how to de- de- degrade, demonize their brothers and sisters in Messiah. It's really true, honestly. Sad but true. And you're like, well, you don't quite believe like the I do. You know how many people have wished me a Merry Christmas this year? I mean, all over the place. I meet, whether it's in the store or it's because of my work contacts or whatever. And you know what? They're wishing a blessing. They're pronouncing a blessing. And even though we don't celebrate the day, we don't celebrate Christmas. We understand its origins. It's not part of our belief system. But you know what? They mean well. And why why not just give them a blessing back? Why not give them, well, thank you very much, and same to you, because it's a blessing. Don't curse them back. Oh, don't do that stuff. Don't you know that it's pagan? Just saying. It's a, yeah, right, Tammy. I agree. It's a courtesy to accept and bless them back. Thank you for giving me that exclamation point on there. All right, let's move on. And I will be okay. So we're verse 25. And Yahweh Elohim said, "Open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth with the language which has been revealed, for it had ceased from the mouths of all the children of men from the days of the overthrow of Babel. Okay, wait a minute. Does that mean at the Tower of Babel, the tower of that where all where we have the one language was then split into 70 different languages, that the Hebrew language, I'm going to call it the Hebrew language because I think that's the original language, it got lost in the midst of all of those other languages. I think it says it's is it that he may hear and speak with his mouth with the language which has been revealed, for it had ceased from the mouths of all the children of men from the day of the overthrow of Babel. I think that is very interesting. It ceased. I'm underlining that because I think that's significant, and you're always revealing it to. So now, in other words, Abraham is the first Hebrew speaker since Babel, the Tower of Babel. I keep messing up that word. All right, think about that. It's interesting. Verse 26. And I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Ivrit, in the tongue of the creation. Oh, that's it. I want that. Okay, Father, that's my prayer, that you would open up my mouth and my ears and my lips, and that you would speak with me in Ivrit, in the tongue of creation, and then I would be able to speak back in the tongue of creation. This is why we're on this journey, to pull out these interesting things. Okay, let's go on. Verse 27. And he took the Sepharim of his fathers, and these were written in Ivrit. Wait a minute. His fathers had Hebrew writing, but nobody understood it because they couldn't read it because of the dividing of the languages, because it got buried. Yeah. It went extinct at that time. And it's really sad when you think about it, because these were all the descendants of Noah. All right. And he transcribed them and he began from henceforth to study them, and I made known to him that which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy months. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 6th week, he spoke to his father and informed him that he would leave Haran and go to the land of Canaan to see it and return to him. And Terach his father said unto him, Go in peace. May the eternal Elohim make your path straight, and Yahweh be with you and protect you from all evil, and grant unto you grace, mercy, and favor before those who see you. And may none of the children of men have power over you, harm you, go in peace. Think about that assignment that he just went on. He said, Wait a minute, I got to go. It's time for me to go to this place called the land of Canaan. Why would he go there? Because he is a descendant of Shem, and Canaan, belonged to Shem. And yet the descendants of Ham were living there. So why was he called there? Because he was going to be a place there as a seed by which his family would grow and then drive out those who were occupying that land, because it didn't belong to him. And Abraham was getting his mission. I think that's part of that when we were looking at that earlier, in that prayer that he had. Get up. Oh, get up from your country. Even before that, he said, wait a minute, the right pass before you, prosper it in the hands of your servant, that he may fulfill it, that I may not walk in the deceitfulness of my heart. So I think those paths led to the answer to that prayer: get you up from your country and from your kindred and from the house of your father unto a land which I will show you, and make you a great and numerous nation. See? So there you go. He gets his marching orders. He gets a blessing from his own earthly father. But I think it's all about establishing Shem's rightful kingdom. And if you see a land pleasant to your eyes, to dwell in it, then arise and take me to you, and take Lot with you, the son of Haran, your brother, as your own son. Yahweh be with you. And Nachor, your brother, um, leave with me till you return in peace, and we go with you all together. Well, I guess, that's a blessing, but Terah didn't make it, did he? He didn't make it. And neither did Nahor, his brother, who gave us Laban. Yeah, not a good guy. All right, so going on. How about this chapter? We're on chapter 13. Okay, let's jump into there. And Avram journeyed from Haran, and he took Sarai, his wife, or his woman, and Lot, his brother, Haran's son, to the land of Canaan. And he came unto a shore. So, this, you think about what's the connection? It's because Dad told him to take Lot. Dad told Avram to take Lot to watch over him. It's like, yeah, he shouldn't be staying around here in Haran. Yeah, it's not a good place for him. Why don't you take him with you? Maybe it'll do him some good. All right, yeah. And he came into Ashur and proceeded to Shechem and dwelt near a lofty oak. You know about those oaks, right? So Shechem. And he saw, and behold, the land was very pleasant from the entering of Hamath to the lofty oak. And Yahweh said to him, to you and your seed will I give this land. And he built an altar there, and he offered thereon a burnt sacrifice to Yahweh, who had appeared to him. And he removed from thence unto the mountain. So you wonder why Jacob, would stop and build an offering or make some type of honorarium, a memorial, as when Yahweh appeared to him. Well, that's what his grandfather Abraham also did. Verse 5, chapter 13. And he removed from thence unto the mountain Bethel on the west, and Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. And he saw, and behold, the land was very wide and good, and everything grew thereon, vines and figs and pomegranates, oaks and flexes and terebinths and oil trees. Oil trees? Would that be like olive oil? oil trees and cedars and cypresses and date trees and all the trees of the field. And there was water on the mountains. It, it's like he's describing a place that all of these things were growing in the wild. These are all natural trees, these fruit bearing trees, and yet the oaks and the flexes. I don't know what the flexes are, um, but exactly terebinth trees, and but the cedars, cypresses, but all these other ones. It's like that. They're growing naturally. It's not like today where you know those that grow trees they have orchards and they plant all of the trees in the orchard. So it was just a land that's filled with all of this. It's very unique. Wouldn't that be really cool just to kind of like, let's say the world wasn't populated. And so you go on this journey and you go into this place and all of a sudden you see just, I mean, got grazing lands and you got these orchards that are just natural and they're just growing up. It's like, man, everything I could desire, everything I wanted to, that I need to survive, I can just harvest it here. It's like the garden. I mean, that isn't that the picture? That's kind of like the picture. And there was water on the mountains, and he blessed Yahweh, who had led him out of Ur of the Kasdim, and brought him to this land. And it came to pass in the first year, in the 7th week, in the new month of the first month, that he built an altar on this mountain, and he called on the name of Yahweh, you, the eternal Elohim, are my Elohim. Wait, let's stop right there before we go into the rest of this prayer. And it, okay, as we mark this, it's the first day of the first year in the 7th week. In the 7th week. So we're talking the 7th week. It's like 7 years. This would be like the Shemitah year. The first year in the 7th week, 7 weeks. Now, this would be like a Jubilee. 7 Shemitahs would be 7 weeks. And the first year, this would be like a Jubilee. I could be wrong, but the way it's describing it here, it's like this is a Jubilee year. And it came to pass in the first year in the 7th week on the new month of the first month, so at the first of this year of Jubilee, that he built an altar on this mountain. And he called on the name of Yahweh, you, the eternal Elohim, are my Elohim. And he offered on the altar a burnt sacrifice. Yep, he brought a burnt offering, a burnt sacrifice, and Yahweh. When I say Yahweh, that's the way this version um, has the name of Yod He Vav He. That he would be with him and not forsake him all the days of his life. Well, that's a good prayer too. Be with me and don't forsake me all the days of my life. There's a lot of years ahead of Abraham or Avram at this point in time. So I think that's a good prayer. I mean, you think about it, if we got a lot of years ahead of us, well, don't we want Yahweh to be with us along that path? And he removed from thence and went towards the Negev. And it came to Hebron. And Hebron was built at that time. And he dwelt there 2 years and went thence into the land of the Negev to Baaloth. And there was a famine in the land. And Avram went to Mitzrayim. So he went to Egypt. And he goes on deep. Now that's going into the land of Ham by going to Mitzrayim. In the 3rd year of the week. I mean, what if there was a famine going on in the land at this point in time? I mean, think about this. Israel, in terms of that land area, is very dependent on the former and the latter rains. They need the fall rains and they need the spring rains for the harvest. And they're very dependent upon it. The summertime is very dry. and but those fall and winter rains leading into the spring rains is what sustains the land. And it's and when you think, well, they were going through a drought, why didn't he go back to Hebron? I mean, not Hebron. Why didn't he go back to Haran in Mesopotamia, in the Ur of the Chaldees? Why didn't he go that way? But he went to Mitzrayim. He went to Egypt instead. And why? Because, well, you got some very fertile land because of the Nile River, correct? Good place for your flocks. And Avram went into Mitzrayim in the third year of the week, and he dwelt in Mitzrayim 5 years before his woman was torn away from him. 5 years, and they were scouting out his woman for 5 years. And then finally, they took her. Now, Tanal's, no, yep, Tanias, that's it, Tanias, in Mitzrayim, was at that time built 7 years after Hebron. And it came to pass when Pharaoh seized Sarai, the woman of Avram, that Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because Sarai, Avram's woman. So that's, see, I just want you to know that you married men out there, it's okay to call your wife your woman. Just because it's right here, I'm reading it. Sarai was Avram's woman. Leave her alone. I'm just kidding. All right. So, and Avram was very glorious. I'm kidding. Seriously. And if you think, all right, never mind. Okay. And Avram was very glorious by reason of possessions in sheep and cattle and asses and horses and camels and men servants and maidservants and in silver and gold exceedingly. And Lot, also his brother's son, was wealthy. All right, so it would make sense that Pharaoh would say, "Hey, this guy's a king. This is royalty, and so I want to make an alliance with royalty, and I want to take that woman because she seems like she's available, and we'll make it a family alliance by marriage." That's what they do. They still do it today. I mean, there's a lot of inbreeding going on over in Europe. If you ever wonder, the ones that are, I'm going to use this very tenderly. The ones that are imbecilical, in yes, I'm using that word. Um, the ones that because of their genes are too close to their father and mother's genes are too close to each other, and they kind of produce somebody that's not quite all there. They exist in royalty in Europe, and because they keep interbreeding, and so they hide those away, and only the fittest take over the family responsibilities, and some of them are just a little off. I mean, think about it. They wanted, okay, I'm not going to go into all the politics about how they're destroying Europe right now, but that's what they're doing, and it's all in my opinion, maybe it's all inbreeding. Did I say that? I'm just going to move right along here and go into verse 15. And Pharaoh gave back Sarai the woman, wait a minute. And Pharaoh gave back Sarai, the woman of Aram, and he sent him out of the land of Mitzrayim. Wait a minute, why? Why? Because of plague. Because of a plague. Because verse 13, Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Avram's woman. Yeah, they're probably like, this woman came in and everybody got sick. This isn't right. Something's going on here. So he gives Sarah back. So take her. I don't want your plagues. And by the way, leave Mitzrayim, says, and sent him out of the land of Mitzrayim. And he journeyed to the place where he had pitched his tent at the beginning, to the place of the altar, with Ai on the east and Bethel on the west. And he blessed Yahweh Elohehu, who had brought him back in peace. Well, Why didn't he just come earlier? Well, why did he even wait? Why did he delay? Well, he had to delay to get Sarah back, of course. Doesn't say anything about how Pharaoh gave, gave him a bunch of wealth to leave, too. It didn't say that anything here, but we have to read that in the biblical narrative, right? Okay. And it came to pass in the 41st Jubilee, in the third year of the first week, that he returned to this place and offered thereon a burnt sacrifice. And he called on the name of Yahweh and said, "You, El Elyon, are my Elohim forever and ever." And in the fourth year of this week, Lot parted from him, and Lot dwelt in Sodom. Sodom. And the men of Sodom, were sinners exceedingly. Well, why would Lot go to a place like that? Come on, Abraham. He's already speaking Hebrew. You had to learn Hebrew because, and he's got the Hebrew text that he took from his father's house and Ivrit. But I mean, but he went there. He went to. Why would he go there? All right, because it looked very lush. That's why. But nevertheless, why would he go there? Okay, verse 18. And it grieved him in his heart that his brother's son had parted from him. Yeah, because they were getting him, their servants were battling each other over whatever lands that they had. I mean, you think about the abundance of the flocks and the herds and everything that they had. It's like, you know, choose which way you want to go, and I'll go the other way. And that's what Lot did. Why would he do that? In that year, wait a minute. And he grieved him in his heart that his brother, son, had departed from him and that he had no children. Wait a minute. Is he talking about Lot? Is he talking about Avram? I think it's talking about Avram had no children, and that is now that his brother's son is no longer there. His nephew is gone. It's like the family had parted. It's like, what am I going to do with all my wealth? Who's going to get it? I bet he's thinking about that because it grieved him. In that year when Lot was, taken captive, was it the same year he departed and Lot was taken captive? Yahweh said unto Avraham, after that Lot had departed from him in the fourth year of this week, lift up your eyes to the place where you are dwelling northward and southward and westward and eastward. Wait a minute. In that year when Lot was taken captive, is that just talking about he was taken captive because this the men of Sodom were sinners exceedingly? Was there something that that grabbed his attention and the word just told us that he was taken captive, maybe with the lifestyle, maybe with all of that, all of maybe the fertile valley? Yeah. Huh. Well, Sodom is definitely not a fertile valley now. I mean, it's been torched and cursed since the fire fell, right? Okay. Oh. Hmm. Yahweh said unto Abraham, after that Lot had departed, after that Lot, yeah, yeah, not cool. You should have just learned to get along. Okay, in the fourth year of this week, lift up your eyes from the place where you're dwelling, northward and southward and westward and eastward. For all the land which you see, I will give it to you and to your seed forever, and I will make your seed as the sand of the sea. Though a man may number the dust of the earth, yet your seed shall not be numbered. Well, because Abraham was like, I'm sad. I don't have any descendants. I don't have anybody to give my inheritance to. And now he's getting a blessing. Wait a minute. Let's get rid of that stinking thinking there, Abraham. I'm just going to tell you what's going on. I didn't bring you out here for nothing because you prayed that you would be part of my plans and part of my paths. That's right. So we started out. Arise, walk throughout the land in the length of it and the breadth of it, and see it all. For to your seed will I give it. And Avram went to Hebron and dwelt there. And in this year came Kedorlaomer, 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 the king of Elam, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elakar, and Tidal, king of nations, and slew the king of Amorah, and the king of Sodom fled the king and slew the king of Amorah. That would be Gomorrah, right? Yeah, it would be Amorah. Yeah, and the king of Sodom fled, and many fell through wounds in the valley of Siddim by the Salt Sea. And they took captives Sodom and Adam, Adam and Tsevoyim, and they took captive Lot also, the son of Avram's brother, and all his possessions, and they went to Dan. They went to Dan. Well, Dan's a nice place. It's really pretty up there in the mountains. It's beautiful. And one who had escaped came and told Avram that his brother's son had been taken captive, and Avram armed his household servants for Avram and for his seed a tenth of his first fruits to Yahweh, and Yahweh ordained it as an ordinance forever that they should give it to the priests who served them or served him, that they should possess it forever. And to this Torah, and to this instruction, there is no limit of days, for he has ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to Yahweh the tenth of everything. Whoa! Stop right there. And to this instruction, this Torah, there is no limit of days, for he has ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to Yahweh the tenth of everything, of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it unto the priests to eat and to drink with joy before him. Look at that. Right there. The instruction of the tithe, right there, is to be ordained for the generations forever. Have you ever wondered where it comes from? It's right there, because we know that after Avram comes back, what's he do? He tithed. And he tithed to whom? He tithed to the Melchizedek. Yeah, which many say was Shem. There and in the city of um, Shalom, Jerusalem. Yeah. Salem is how the King James Version says it. And the king of Sodom came to him and bowed himself before him and said, Our Lord Avram, give unto us the souls which you have rescued, but let the booty be yours. And Avram said unto him, I lift up my hands to El Elyon, and from the thread to a shoe latchet, I shall not take anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Avram rich, save only that the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. These shall take their portion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They get paid. These men came with me, so they need their pay. So they need to be paid for that. But I'm not going to take any of your stuff. Not going to do it. This is interesting. Yeah. And this it's kind of like it's missing like the key area about how they pursued these armies and and then destroyed those armies and then you know set the captives free. It just jumps, but it's okay, because what's more important is this verse here. He says that to this Torah there is no limit of days, and for Abraham and for his seed a tenth of his first fruits to Yahweh, and Yahweh ordained it as an ordinance forever. a tenth of the first fruits to Yahweh, and Yahweh ordained it as an ordinance forever. Okay, so guess what? Forever means that it is not just an Old Testament uh, command. Forever means forever, just like we're supposed to keep the Shabbat, we're supposed to keep the feast days, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, that's just mark that chapter 13, verses 25 and 26. But wait a minute. Well, that's just then. Forever doesn't really mean forever. I hear those. I just hear those arguments going. Well, that's what Abraham says. Deliver me from those evil ruachot. That verse 20 back in chapter 12. Deliver me from the hands of the evil ruachot, or evil spirits, who have dominion over the thoughts of men's hearts, and lead them not, and let them not lead me astray from you, my Elohim. Yeah, because the reason people want to have an excuse for anything is because, well, why? Because little, little, little voices. That doesn't really mean tattoo. Doesn't really mean that it means that then, but not now. Because just as I put presents under the Christmas tree doesn't mean I'm bowing down to the tree. So I put something on my skin doesn't mean I'm giving myself over to a pagan god with that image. All right, whatever. I'm making fun here. Okay, I'm making fun. All right, I'm not. This is no judgment. It's just, but you see how these things bleed and traditions bleed into that. The fact that the truth, it's watered down of what is it's like, well, it's so far from when it was a pagan practice that even though the practices have similarities, doesn't mean it's in my heart that I'm doing that. We know those excuses. But check what's in your heart, because your heart is deceitful above all else. So you need to have truth, not just feelings. Okay, just saying. Am I burying myself here? Am I just like digging? Am I digging a hole that I can't get out of? Hmm. Okay. All right. Yep, tithing is older than Torah. Thank you, Tammy. Okay, interesting. You know where are we at? We're in chapter 14, verse 1. Is this not been interesting tonight? Okay, so back to the book. Exactly. Verse 1. After these things in the fourth year of this, that's why it's in a journey because I can chase squirrels. Because that's always a journey. No, After these things, in the fourth year of this week, on the new moon of the third month, the word of Yahweh came to Avram in a dream, saying, Fear not, Avram, I'm your defender, and your reward will be exceedingly great. I want to, I want to dream like that. I, I like that. I, I like that. I really like that a lot. Verse 2. And he said, Yahweh, 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 what will you give me, seeing I go hence childless? And the son of Masek, the son of my handmaid, is the Damascus Eliezer, and he will be my heir, and to me you have given me no seed. And he said unto him, This man will not be your heir, but one that will come out of your own bowels. He will be your heir. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, he's already said you're going to get a son. You're getting a son out of this deal, Avram. And he brought him forth abroad, and he said unto him, Look toward the heaven and number the stars, if you're able to number them. And he looked toward the heaven and beheld the stars, and he said unto him, So shall your seed be. And he believed in Yahweh, and he believed in Yahweh, and it was counted to him for righteousness. Think about that. I talked about this before. When you what's the significance about the stars? Well, 12 constellations, and each constellation is connected with one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And inside of each constellation are billions of stars if you've got a good enough telescope. Amazing. And he said unto him, I am Yahweh. I am Yahweh that brought you out of the Ur of the Kasdim to give you the land of the Kenaim to possess it forever. Because you're going to kick out your uncle, great uncle Ham's descendants because they don't belong there. To possess it forever, and I will be Elohim unto you and to your seed for after you. And he said, Yahweh, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And I'm running out of time. We're going to have to stop right there. Because we got the pieces. We're going to walk the pieces next time. But by the way, this next week, we'll be taking a week off because next week is mine and my wife's anniversary. Mine and my woman's anniversary. So we won't be here next week, but we'll be here the following week. So so glad that you're able to join me this time. So when we pick up back in around the 6th of January, I think this one is in 2 weeks, then we'll pick up here in chapter 14, where we're going to continue our adventure. And thank you for that happy anniversary greeting. Appreciate that, Tammy. And all right, like, share, subscribe. And until next time, shalom.
If you missed today's show or want to watch it again or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lambnetwork.tv where you will find this show and all the other live Lamb show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell someone about the Messianic Lamb Network. We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussions, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the lambnetwork.tv website. I'm Sandi Craig, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.